There's no way I'm gonna let go. There's no way, because it's my show.
This great nation of America has been around for 239 years. Now, in those 239 years, America has been known for prosperity, for trailblazing, and for freedom. But one thing it's starting to get known for is income inequality. Now, in America, the wealth and income gap is higher than anywhere else in the world. This is because that the economic system of America is not always a fair one. As the saying goes, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And that's how it's always worked in America.
So now we're in my neighborhood. This is Market Street, and this is where I grew up pretty much all my life up until I was about, I would say like 10 or 12, around there. My house right here, which my dad just redid. And still got some paint chipping and shit. Yeah, so now we're coming up to my mom's house here in Bloomington. And this is where I moved from my pretty broke neighborhood after my parents divorced. And my mom remarried, and this is where my stepdad lives. It's a lot nicer than, Market Street. But I have no bias of the two.
Economic inequality doesn't just affect one class of people, not just middle class, not just higher class, or lower class. It can affect everyone, and even and especially people in the in-between. Now, effect is in the sense of changing their ideals and changing their beliefs. Now, this one man, he was a very nice and generous man who won the Illinois lottery a year ago, and he won $750,000. And at this point in time, he owes at least that much back. We're going to take a look at how his ideals have changed and what happened to him when he won the lottery, how he lost all of his money.
Right, now, what do you spend all your money on?
Well, hookers.
Now that's incredible. A man once part of the 1% is now with the 99%. How could he go from above and top of the food chain to, one of the everyday people? Well, according to Amerifacts, 89% of people who win $1 million in the lottery lose it within a year.
Now, what a mind-boggling story that was. Now, I interviewed someone whose morals were so torn away from them, from growing up with wealth, that they couldn't even carry on a conversation with me without being rude. Check this out.
What your parents do? That's CEO State Farm. Really? Yeah. What about your mom? Mom, stay-at-home mom. Really? So, do you have any brothers or sisters? No. Really? So, all of or part of the money that your parents make goes to you? Most of it. Like a trust fund kind of thing? No, just whenever I want it. Oh, okay. Do you have a vehicle? Yes, I do. It's right over there. Is it really? Yeah. Let's go over here. Don't tip any paint or anything. It costs money. So how much do you think this car is? You don't know. Who does know? The person who sold it to me. You bought it. With my dad's money. What do you think about people who earn their own money and buy their own things? I think they just do that because their parents don't have money to do it for them. Why do you think this way? It's just because.
Now we move on to something very important. A lot more important than that, which would be the rich and poor gap. Now, we took a survey about the rich and poor gap, and we asked people, what do you think has happened to the rich and poor gap in the last 30 years? And then we told them the reality. So, their survey, they put 65% of Americans thought the rich and poor gap grew, while 20% thought there was no change, and 7% thought it got smaller. Now, in reality, the rich and poor gap has grown 73% in the last 30 years. Now, the 67% who thought that the rich and poor gap grew also thought it was an ongoing fact of life, and that it was a realization of sorts, that this was happening, and they've known it their entire lives. Now, an April 2015 survey said that 76% of Americans think that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And this is a stark reality for a lot of Americans. knowing that a lot of these people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year don't care that most Americans, that 99% of Americans, don't make that kind of money and have to work for their own living. Now, we interviewed TJ Jones on East Market Street. We sent Fernando Carranza down there, he asked some questions, and we'll see what he thinks about the rich and
I
poor.
don't work there.
Right. Would you say that America, in that sense of social and kind of a bias, you know, whether it's to criminals or people of the lower class or anything like that, is kind of failing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's not getting no better because
Money.
pretty soon it's just gonna be rich and poor.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Rich and the poor. You feel me? That's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be slums around here. I don't see it as getting no better. You feel me? As like they say, half a block down there's $500,000 houses.
Right.
You feel me? But you anywhere on this west side or in this little area, you feel me, it's a little bit worse. And you go farther west, it's a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's not getting no better. I mean, it's just gonna be one part of town is where all the state farm government workers work and live, and then one side of town is just gonna be the lower class. I mean, it's not changing for that.
I think TJ made a great point with what he said about the rich and the poor and the sides of town that to reach on. And to prove that, me and co-producer Carranza took a ride down Oakland Avenue here in Bloomington just to show exactly how the town is divided right down the middle with rich and the poor.
So we're here in Bloomington, and right here it's a key principle of how America's failing is that the life in the cities, in different areas of the city, is very drastically different. And how we mean that is right now we are transitioning from a really nice, really high-class area of the city to a somewhat semi-industrial, downtownish, and lower-class 99% area of the city.
That's a big thing about Bloomington is we're caught right in the middle of the state, so we get people from all over the place, whether it's country folk who are born from farmers or people from Chicago moving here out of to try to get away from the violence and things like that. I know a lot of people who have done that, and it's just Bloomington is the definition, I would say, of a melting pot. We get all different types of people, and the neighborhoods change drastically. Like, we were just on Oakland, and on Oakland is where you start to get the change from State Farm to the working class people. Instead of working in offices and shit, they start working in what's called like restaurants and stuff like